already have our first place player decided. Sora did get out of the group in first. Now we're going to find out who's not getting out of the group, and he's getting out in last place.
Yeah, always the saddest group here, the two losers together. And it's really surprising, I have to say, to see Cure and Stats out of this group to be in the losers matchup. I was not expecting it. Sora surprised me. Yoma surprised me. And we're going to have a really good, this is like Pro League status here, this kind of matchup here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, pick some bands. Are they the same ones?
Yep.
Yes.
This is so strange. I don't know. I guess they just don't like those 4 maps.
Well, I mean, for Cure, the bans on Deadwing and Foxtrot, they make sense to me. For Stats, the ban on Catalina makes sense. Nimbus is a fair ban. It's sometimes tough to deal with someone like Cure's really good drops on Nimbus.
Yeah, Nimbus is hard sometimes in PvT, so.
These 3 maps are, most pros will tell you they like them the best. They're solid, safe, third base maps for almost all races and all matchups. KSS, Overgrowth, and Merry-Go-Round, the maps you're going to see people, love to pick when they want to play a straight-up game. And for that reason, I think it's just, one of the reasons why we keep seeing them back and forth. There's no real race favoring on these maps. You feel like going into them.
I mean, when you get 4 bans out of 7, you're probably going to see some similar maps just based on exactly what you were saying. So, kind of does make sense. And going to this first matchup, it's going to be Kingshaven Station once again here.
Yep. And this is going to be, I feel like, a little bit different than the previous series we saw. I feel like Stats likes to play this matchup a little bit differently. Sometimes we see him even go Phoenix Colossus versus Terran. He really likes to keep his builds flexible. Definitely think we'll be seeing him go Stargate at least one of these 3 games. That's just what he likes to do. He's Air Protoss all the way. You see him play versus Zerg. You see him go Tempest almost every time. He likes to play that super, super late game. Get those Void Rays and Tempest out with his Colossi. Not one really to do timing attacks or be aggressive in this matchup.
Yeah, not really. Not really at all.
All right, guys, it's time for our losers match. Cure versus Stats in the round of 16, Group B.
Down here in the bottom right, in the red, looking really good with the new colors. It's Cure.
It's so good. And over here, the top left, in blue for KT Rolster, it's Stats. And as mentioned before, his Pro League team did win last season. And this guy is a multiple-time GSL Code S player. Very solid, well-renowned player. Also quite good in Brood War as well.
Yeah.
One of the top Protosses back then.
Has a lot of stats on him.
Oh, is that so? He's got stats. So,
we talked about Joya sitting down a little bit earlier. Yoma has joined him and watched these games. He wants to see exactly who he's going to be up against and how they play.
Sure. If he hits Cure, especially, this matchup becomes more important to watch because if he hits Stats, then he's first of all he's been there, he's done that, and he's playing a different matchup than what this is. So, if Cure advances here, which he's expecting, it's going to be pretty handy to watch these, especially considering we keep seeing the same maps. So,
yeah, who would you expect out of this one, Stats or Cure?
I want to get based on Stats' performance in that match that we just watched. I would say Cure.
I'm with you on that one. I'd actually say I'd go as far as to say 2-0.
Yeah, Cure is just he played so well in his first match against Sora. The matches were really close. The games were really, really tight. Sora just got little edges over him in both games and made some really cool micro decisions. I feel like I want to give the edge to Cure here pretty significantly.
Yeah, the biggest thing that stands out to me was especially in the first game where that early third Nexus came down and Cure was just doing so much damage. You can see he was on point. His multitasking was really nice. And Sora dealt with it really nicely, but I'm not sure if Stats is going to have the same success. I'm just really having more confidence in the way Sora played rather than Stats.
Yeah. Stats felt weak in his PvP. He just seemed a bit off. Didn't seem like the normal Stats we've come to know and love. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if he's having an off day because players do have that from time to time.
Maybe KT winning, taking off a bunch of time, going to the beach too much.
Maybe so, taking all those prize monies.
League of Legends. Dare I say?
Don't say that, Brendan. Don't say that. We don't talk about that game.
My apologies.
So, let's see how this Reaper does here. I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to get any damage done considering the Electric Core is already out, and he's approaching here against a tight wall and gas probes, which are almost certainly not going to kill.
That building placement, though.
It's really tight.
Nice. Yeah.
No pun intended, but I mean, it's quite nice.
Yeah, definitely no pun intended. Reaper jumping down and jumping back up. Mothership Core in position. But, you know, Stalker is going to pop out here, and he should not be able to get much damage done.
But he sees the 3 pylons,
yep.
And that's important. Now he knows where to check for later, and also where to avoid when he goes for his drop coming up, because we are going to see a drop out of him. I like this. He's already changing it up a little bit out of what we've seen against his games versus Sora.
Me and you were talking about this map and how you face a lot of Terrans who like to do this build against you. This drop in the main with the Hellions going up the front.
They're doing it to me all the time. This time with Widow Mines, it looks like.
Yeah. Those pesky Terrans.
The key is to just, you know, turtle up a little bit here. And also knowing it's coming can be quite helpful. That's a nice pick off there.
Yeah, there was even a Stalker from the back going to flank it there, and was going to be able to get that kill even if it did get away from that one on the high ground.
So the Stalkers are moving out now a little bit. Just going to get some little poking done, a little bit of scouting. They need to come back pretty much right away, though, to defend against this drop that we're going to see. He's not actually going to be able to get much scouting information done here, and because of that secondary ramp, if he pokes up there, the Marines on the high ground will be able to push him back. This isn't like, you know, if you can pull them onto the low ground, it's a totally different story, right? But every time you want to go up there when you don't have vision, the Marines are going to always take the better engagement. They're going to get so much damage done off of you.
Yeah. You actually made a comment a little bit, I think it was about a month ago, about how a lot of the really good maps these days, they have ramps there just for that, you know, that one aspect of the game. It's really smart.
Yeah, it's just map makers figured out that if you have a lot of ramps, especially how you have the ramp that goes down, and there's a secondary ramp even beyond the natural ramp that you have to go up, it just allows a lot more micro tricks to be used for both players, and it gives the defender obviously a slight advantage. So let's see how much this drop gets done. He's back at home now. He's got plenty of Stalkers here. He has an Observer, I believe, so I don't think this will get much done. Doesn't target the Widow Mine. Probes are pulled, though. Should get maybe 2 kills, yep.
Does get 2, but another Widow Mine coming into the main base here. Does he even notice this? He's not pulling his probes. Finally he does. Scared me a bit there. He's going to be able to get 1 probe, it looks like.
Oh, he waits?
Yeah, very nicely done here. Going to burrow once again.
You can actually, I thought he might unburrow once more, but he doesn't have anything else to tank for his Widow Mine now. Where are those Observers? There's 2 Observers. Okay, clears that Widow Mine. And I guess he sent the other Observer across the map while he sends this one over here to finish this Widow Mine off before it gets another charge.
Yeah, I actually see that coming across the map down
Yeah.
there.
And Medevac does escape. And he's powering up a ton of barracks here.
Yep, there's that Observer. Showing his face again.
So, damage done, not a whole lot. Did force him to play a little bit passively there for a moment. Pretty defensive, but saved his Medevac.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the Protoss is going to be doing at this moment anyway. He's just getting his Colossi out. And nice snipe there on the Observer. But what I was saying, I mean, he's just able to get that Colossi out. He's going to be back at home anyway. He's not really going to be putting on the pressure besides the Stalkers at the front, but, you know, not really that much damage.
So normally in this situation, after the Terran does damage or doesn't, or, you know, after this happens, the Protoss has some sort of advantage if the damage isn't significant enough, which in this case it was not. This case, it's going to be Colossi, very fast Colossi. He got that out. He kind of rushed those out. You know, in the games versus Sora, we saw a 3rd base was up, you know, versus that earlier Terran aggression. So he now needs to try to circumvent these Colossi and do some damage here. This building placement, again, a big problem. He has to re-lift and drop again because the buildings are in his way. He can't just run in there by ground.
Observer sees the couple of drops coming in here. A nice warp in here. Should be able to stop it.
Well, he needs more units than just 2 Stalkers.
Yeah, especially with all those Marauders in there. He needs to keep his Colossus back, but here we go. He's got all his units in place now, and he's going to be able to just lift off and back away.
And, I mean, just as it goes right now, Stats is setting up for some harassment at the 3rd base, but I feel like Kira's in a pretty decent spot. He's even the worker count.
I'm not sure if this is just harassment, actually. He went up to about 5 or 6 gates, and he's got 3 Colossi now with the range just coming down, and Cure is identifying this now. He sees the push coming across. He's got some units up there for harass, but the They're not going to be part of the main army, but he's going to be able to get some damage done here in the main base.
Yep, Nexus Cannon is not ready. Needs 10 more in-game seconds before it's ready. 4 probes killed here already. Colossus pops out to defend, though. And let's see how much damage he gets done. I think you're right, Brendan. This is definitely going to be a big attack. This medevac goes down. And here comes the attack. There are 2 bunkers almost completed, but they're not ready yet. First one does complete. 1 Stalker falls to Widowmine. Second Stalker goes down here as well. And a solid hold here from Curie just to make sure he doesn't step too far forward.
Yeah. Some nice shots there in the Stalkers. A lot of that frontal army for Stats going down before the engagement even goes down. He's got a lot of SCVs here for repairs as well. And you can see Stats is backing off. He knows that push is kind of pushed away, especially with this third Colossus back at home. So nicely done by Kier here, but the third base is delayed.
Yeah. Third base is delayed, and I mean, I feel like Kier, with this army he's got coming across here, he's going to do some real work. I mean, look at the army size and the Marauder, the ratio he has is quite nice as well. The only thing he's missing really is Vikings, but I feel like if he takes the right angle here before this Nexus is complete, he could force a fight that works really nicely for him.
Yeah, especially if he pulls this army apart as well. Big scan goes down, sees that the army is not together here for the Protoss. Is going to try to drop in here and, you know, distract the Protoss here at the natural. And here he goes, trying to get the Colossus down. Just barely doesn't get 11 health there.
And one more volley of rockets would have done it. Scans again here. There's the Nexus cannon. He's going to have to pull that drop away, maybe attack the natural. But he's not attacking the third base location, which means that Nexus will finish. And he's going to be able to use that, you know, that bit of a defensive point over there with Mothership cannons, or rather Nexus cannons, Mothership core, whichever you want to call it. All right, targets the incorrect Colossus here. Could have actually targeted the weakened one. Does it at the last second, but he's just going to hold this. He does finally kill that Colossus.
And some reinforcements coming in here out of Kira. A ton of Marauders in this mix. Gets down that second Colossus as well. Miscliss there actually on that third Colossus.
He may actually just get this one down too, though. Not
very,
quite.
very close.
A lot of reinforcements, man.
Widowmine nice zoning there, and actually going to kill all the probes there at the third base. May even be able to get that Nexus. A second Widowmine in position here, but it will get scouted.
He had a ton of Marauders coming in there in that second wave. And this pylon still hasn't even been utilized to do any sort of harassment, so the third base is already finished. He's making it into an orbital right now. Storm is almost done, but he's going to have to use that as like a crutch for a little bit here to hold on to his third base. He's not going to be attacking anytime soon, that's for sure. Especially if Cure keeps all the pressure like this.
And that he is. You see all those rallies going straight for that natural ramp. This medevac trying to drop what looks like possibly some Marauders or Widowmines to harass that natural. Trying to come in here and snipe some of those Colossi once again. Again, those Marauders coming in, but the Storms are good. And they push Cure back for now.
Yep. Oh, he pulls 3 probes away here. Oh, that one's going to get a few. Nice. 4 more kills there. 65 to 51 right now. The worker count in favor of a Terran, who's on 3 bases and is hitting his upgrades. With that Ghost Academy coming, that's the one piece he's really missing here. He doesn't have an answer for the Storm just yet, but with that Ghost Academy finishing and him getting a few Ghosts out, it's going to be fine. And because his Protoss army is still really weak and really small right now compared to where he'd like it to be, that means he doesn't really have to worry about that time window too much. He's got some flexibility here. He's not really super concerned about the fact that his Ghost Academy is not out yet. And look at this repair. He's making sure all of his medevacs stay alive so he can keep making Vikings. Really like to see that.
Now, solid play out of Cure so far all around. This is kind of what we expected. We were pulling for this guy to win this one. But Stats, you know, he is holding on for now. He did get that Storm out just in time for the aggression.
Yeah, it is done, and he is getting his +2 armor now. His charge is coming up. He's adding a few more gates. He has stabilized in worker count a little bit as well.
Yeah, Cure actually doesn't have 3 workers in that gas. It's pretty bad, especially as he's going into all these upgrades and the Ghosts coming out and trying to make Vikings.
Yeah, it's pretty important to make sure you're mining the most efficient way possible. Every 4 gas counts. So, moving across the map now is Stats. And he still has a scary army here, and Storms, you know, are always going to be decent if you can't EMP those Templars. So he needs to be really diligent about making sure he can target those 4 Templar. So up to about 8 Storms he could be using if he takes an engagement. He might just go up here and take this forward location in order to take a 4th base. I think that's most likely the plan here. Just to poke a little bit, get some damage done, and keep the Terran on the defensive while you take that 4th, get that extra gas.
Wouldn't mind scouted out here. Vikings trying to look for something on the Colossi, but not quite. Observer here going down. Misses the scan on the Observer, actually. Pretty close.
Yeah, he knew there must have been an Observer. That's how the Widowmine was picked off, but just not quite close enough. Now he scans. Wow. That'd be so frustrating.
And he doesn't see it as well. Or if he did this time, he's not going to scan for a third time. That would just
wow,
be
that's
too
so
much.
funny. The Observer moves right into the scan as it fades away. And that's just really unfortunate for Cure.
Well, with that, you know, Stats is going to get a really good vision on the whole army of Cure. He's going to know that he's coming from that location. That's why he's breaking down those rocks. Oh, and look at this.
Oh, God, that's so many Zealots. He has no idea this is coming either. He might even do like a second warp in. That would be crazy.
Like 25 Zealots just walking near third base. So huge. Finally, he finds an Observer. There you go.
Here they come. They're going to target down this bunker first. And once that's gone, he easily eat away at those 4 Marines and force the SCVs to run, force reinforcements to be pulled here. It's actually turning his entire army around. He knows this is a bigger threat than just, say 4 or 5 Zealots. This is just too many. And in fact, he's going to lose some of his bio forces here to the Zealots. He's already lost SCVs. So pretty good here for Stats, who now just holds that push off a little bit longer and builds up his High Templar count a little bit higher. 5 Colossi to 15 Vikings, a 3-to-1 ratio.
He actually didn't even kill all of these Zealots just yet. He's finally going to be able to, but again, a pretty decent trade here for Stats, really have to say.
There's the Nexus coming up. And just in general right now, it's a very slow economic game for Stats. Like he's taking his bases much slower than he would like to, but he's committing a lot of these resources to harassment. And he does have almost his complete tech pattern completed. Once he gets those 3 upgrades, he will. His Colossus count is getting insane. He's about to go up to 7.
Yep, he's got that double robo, and he's already got those 8 High Templars, so he's got a huge death ball on this, and it's going to be really hard for Kira to pick this apart. He's going to need a lot of Ghosts for all those High Templar, but a lot of Vikings for the Colossi as well. The Vikings go on the wrong
I think you
patrol
still
path
see it,
there.
but here we go. There's another engagement over here. Brave Viking at the front. And I think that Warp Prism will go down to the bottom right before he can actually do anything with it, unfortunately, for Stats.
It's just running away.
Amidst fangirl screams here at the studio. Now, this is a pretty forward position right now, like Kura's walking right into here. He may just straight up start picking away at these Colossi. He's trying to abuse the fact that they struggle to spread at this location. It's not very wide. He definitely can't have all of his 7 Colossi shooting at the same time here. And he's got very few Zealots in his mix as well. Actually, it's going to force his way up here. Stats a bit, playing a bit timid here. There come the Zealots.
Yep. Nice EMPs in the Ghost, or rather the High Templar in the middle of the line, but all of those Colossi doing a ton of damage, but the Vikings trying to bring them down one by one. The Stalkers are not targeting correctly. Finally, they do. A lot of Colossi have gone down, but there's still a big bio here left over.
Well, let's see if we can stim forward and finish them off. That last Viking group over there just doing so much damage to those Colossi. He targets it. Again, pulling back here. That one Colossus is helping out quite a bit here. There's a few more High Templar with some storms going down. But this Bio Force is just too much. He just eventually, is able to live through the storms.
Yep, storms were not so good in this fight. I have to mention that. Stats not really landing one. There he goes with the big land, but still there's not much left here. And the reinforcements up here, look at that supply. He's just going to push over onto that last Colossus and take out this Nexus.
Yep. Should be able to get it, even with the Nexus cannon there. Too much firepower, and looks like this is going to be it for game number 1, as Stats just doesn't have much left. He's got 3 observers watching this army.
They're watching.
But
that's all they're doing.
This is going to be the end as he wipes this Colossus out. Last of these Zealots are kited against, and he's just got wave after wave of units rallying across the map. 4 medevacs at a time being rallied because he knows he has enough Vikings to deal with the Colossi one by one. All he needs is to reinforce his medevacs, which he's already got 9, soon to have 13. And look at this, just camping these robos. I mean, +3 armor is done, so the Colossi can tank quite a few more Viking shots. But
yeah, and again, Stats not quite leaving this game just yet. He wants this one. He's trying so hard to micro his way, but he loses the Colossus. Second one does pop out, But again, the Vikings still up in the air doing a lot of damage to it. The bio ball is just getting bigger and bigger.
GG. Cure fighting his way through game number 1. Taking his first victory today. The first victory for Terran in this tournament.
Yeah, go Terran. Stats, he's going to get a little bit of a visit by his coach, I would assume.
Yeah. Stressful times right now for Stats. Being one of the favorites of the group by most people's standards based on his recent results. He and Cure, I think results-wise, most people would say they were the two to get out. I would have said Sora first place just because of how well he did WCG last year, and I have a lot of faith in him. But otherwise, I think for recent results' sake, these two are definitely the favorites, and one of them is going to get out, knocked out of this tournament right here, right now in this losers match.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Stats, he's one game away. It's a hard place to be. Next map, I think it's Overgrowth here.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, Cure just needs to keep his wits about him if he wants to take another solid win here, take another TVP victory, and force his way into that final match. Stats looking pretty stressed here. He's been looking stressed all day. I have to say, he's making some uncharacteristic mistakes, especially in his PvP, but in this match as well, I feel like, there was a little bit of indecisiveness in some of these engagements where Cure was just like, I'm ready to fight. Are you coming or not,
Yeah. Compared to someone like Sora, he just looks on point today, like in his grooves. Stats just doesn't. He's like missing the little things. The micro's just not quite there. He's just not quite up to standard today. That's what it's looking like for me.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling you on that. Stats is definitely having an off day, and it's showing in his play. Cure looks ready. Looks like the map is loading. It's time, guys. Overgrowth, map number 2 for our losers match here on the round of 16, Group B for the WECG Korea Nationals.
Down here in the bottom left, up 1-0 so far, the Terran hope of the group. He is Cure.
And his opponent over here, the top right, Stats. KT Rollster. Don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, in 2012's Pro League season, I think Cure was, he was also on Stats' team. He was either on Stats' team or Keswa's 8th team. I can't remember for sure, but
It's all right. I won't quote you.
Just something I'm thinking about right now. It's in my brain.
Yeah.
Because back then, Cure was not playing very well. He was one of our pretty okay Terrans for that tournament in 2012. Or was that was 2013? I'm actually thinking like wrong years here. There were 3 seasons of Pro League with StarCraft 2. One was the hybrid season, and there was the season of 2013 with EGTL. That was probably what that season is most famous for. And then, of course, last season. So, okay, so I'm lining it all.
All right.
I've cast a lot of StarCraft here in Korea, Brendan.
Yeah. Can tell.
Watched a lot more even than I've cast.
Very true. One thing I noticed was actually Cure and Sora being kind of buddy-buddy, talking in the chat, being very friendly with each other when we got this whole thing started, actually. So,
yeah.
Got some friends in here at least.
So, let's see how this one plays out. This map is obviously a bit smaller than Sejong. It's got, a third base that's pretty easy to take, but the fourth can get a bit complicated. Sometimes you see players take the more aggressive fourth base if they want to be attacking as they're defending their fourth base. Sometimes you see the fourth base taken a little bit more passively. And look at this. We have Cure again, actually. Last time he did this on this map, too. He's skipping the Reaper. And what we saw Sora do was just take a fast third base after scouting this. Let's see how Stats decides to play this one out.
Well, once he sees this SCV and once he waits a little bit here, he's going to know that no Reaper's out, and he's going to get that information then. We'll have to see what he does just then. See Cure making that same circle there at that natural. Oh, doesn't even block it.
Yeah, he hid the probe on the high ground. That's pretty smart. And you can see now, of course, there's Mothership Core coming out. Those are Nexuses up there as well. And let's see how Stats plays this after seeing there's no Reaper, because you're going to find out in just a few seconds, okay, where's the Reaper? I guess you don't have one. Yeah. He's got a probe over towards the third base-ish. location. It's kind of over at a funny angle down there.
Yeah. Right after he made that Nexus, he sent it right to that location. So I feel like that could be one of two things. You know, could go for proxy, maybe Stargate or something, or could be used to make that third base like we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think he might be thinking about doing that. And SCV does check this time right away. As you can see, Stats has no scouting information whatsoever on this map.
And that probe is moving. It's on the move. I'm watching that minimap. He's making a pylon behind the gold. There it is.
I wonder if he's just going to add a Twilight Console. He could add a bunch of gates. It's a bit of a funny location for a Stargate. It's closer than a Stargate in the main, but
it's different. It's not in your like normal location which is exactly where Kira is scouting right now. So
yeah, and there it is going to be Stargate.
Yeah, really like this. It's a bit of a different location, and it could go unscouted here. You know, this is not Pro League. The rule of Pro League is that everything gets scouted, all proxies especially.
You know, Whiplash will always be immortalized in my mind for saying that, like, if you proxy in Pro League, you will be scouted. These guys are just so good at scouting. They're so diligent. Look at how many places this SCB is checking right now. And it looks like he barely does not go down there.
He scouts the one location that, or he doesn't scout the one location where the Stargate is, rather. And he's going to scout the third base again. He's going to see, okay, no third base shenanigans this time.
Well, the Stargate is done. It's got 150 gas now to make that Oracle.
Oh.
Just going to see the late Robo, and that's a pretty big tell. That Stalker just a few seconds too late to deny the SCV scout to the main. That's one of these things where when you double tech like this, when you get Robo and the Stargate, you just don't have any gateway units to stop SCVs from walking into your base. That's why we see this sometimes. Big rally over here, and that means none of his rally units are actually going to be at home for the Oracle.
Yeah, really nice observing work, actually. I want to just mention that. Look
Okay,
at that,
re-rallies.
going to the watchtower, but the Oracle skims by. And there's
He's got
here.
nothing.
No Marines, no missile turrets, no idea. And here's the Oracle, already getting 2, 3, 4, 5 kills here. And
So
there's one
much
Marine.
damage. And now he can just kill the Marines. But he needs to be careful here. Okay, Nexus Cannon goes down. Doesn't have vision on that Marauder, so nothing happens, but he has to back off. He's going to kill another Marine here. And the worker count now down to 28, and he's not done yet. He's got 2 more seconds of Oracle time. Okay, runs out of energy. And there's a few of his hit points on his way out, but stats, 9 kills, and Kira gets nothing done with his pressure.
Yeah.
Doesn't lose anything, but this is a rough place to be now.
Yep. Stats doesn't want to go down 2-0 this time. And he's pulling through. He's making Colossi, or rather the Robo Bay now. He's making gateways and the Twilight Council. Could go for that third base whenever he wants. This Marine is going to be the guy, the lucky guy, who may finally get the scout on the Stargate.
Sorry, guy. Not getting that watchtower, that's for sure. And it looks like the Marine's not going to see the Stargate either. Checks the third base location, though.
Yeah. There's like one other place, I guess, behind the third that he didn't scout.
Yeah. Okay, this Oracle is going to come in here and do a little bit more damage. Let's see, 11 kills in total now, 12, 13. Just skimming around the edge like an ice skater, man. Figure skater Oracle over there.
No. And when you do this much damage, you can definitely follow up with the counterattack here. Or rather, just a follow-up pressure, I guess you should call it. And it looks like that's exactly what Stats wanted us to do. He's getting his Colossi out, has that Twilight Council for possible more upgrades in the future as well. He's making pylons all over the map.
So, you know, this Terran ball here is just not as strong as you'd like it to be. He just doesn't have the economy to make it. Uh-oh, decides he wants to, but he's now going to fight here. There's an
Those
observer to
force
tell
fields
everything.
were really, really strong.
Now he's just going to fight into a line of sight blocker. Doesn't know there's a Colossus there. You know, walking into one of those watchtowers with a line of sight blocker is so dangerous if you don't have vision. And Kura took some losses there. Now, Stats can take a third base whenever he wants. He feels super safe doing that. Dare I say, he could basically take the gold base third right now if that's what he wanted to do. That's how safe he is. He's going to have Blink in a second here. His range is done for his Colossi. His Marine is dead.
That it is. And I'm not sure. I mean, he's stopped here pretty much at 48, but he is getting a lot of tech. He's adding 2 forges here. The third base is pretty likely with some pressure.
Yeah, I see a probe going over there right now. All right, he's got such a great amount of pressure set up here. Bunkers are going down right now. Cure is panicking. Needs to get a defense set up right now. Actually does not make that third Nexus on the other hand.
Yeah, I saw that perp go as well, but he just never really made it. 2 more bunkers coming down.
And it looks like he's hesitating here a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he sees no third base and tons of bunkers coming up. And
Marine's denying the third base. That's what's going on over there. So he's just actually going to lose that trade. Not a bad trade, mineral-wise. Also, to delay the Nexus is pretty huge. But forcing all these bunkers, even that third command center made at the home base, not at the low ground, not at the third base location. Gonna have to float over there after he makes an orbital. And look at this! Hey, you forgot about me, right? I'm still here. 14 kills.
And that Oracle is going to be such a nuisance. Even later on in the game, he's going to get so many tags down on the army as well. Just the fact that that hasn't died and that he hasn't sent any Vikings over there because he's still scared of the pressure at the front is that it's just so annoying for Terrence to deal with this.
Yeah. This Observer has been so useful as well. Constantly spotting the Terran army, always knowing exactly where it is, when he can take fights. You know, can he take that fight at the Watchtower? Can he fight this Bioforce? Where does he need to drop his force shields? How many bunkers does he have? Are the bunkers still there? Is he moving out? What is he doing? Is his third CC still there? That Observer knows everything. Everything that Cure is doing, Stats knows about it right now.
Yeah, he's basically God over Cure.
He's all-knowing, man.
Yeah.
All-seeing. Not all-powerful, no, so much. His knobs. Can't see him, though.
Yeah. Very true. Little troop over there just scouting for those pylons. Wants to get rid of those.
Yes. And very important to do when you're going to go ahead and take this third base. Preemptively takes these refineries as well. He really wants this this base up and running. It's a little bit further harassment there. The upgrades for Cure, you know, not terrible with the +2 already coming up. Wants to get that armor to follow it as well, but charge is almost done. He needs to get those 2-2 upgrades going, though. That's one of Paros's biggest strengths in this matchup, is that 3-3 upgrades. Those 3-3 upgrades.
Yeah. Dat 3-3 upgrades.
Dat 3-3 upgrades.
Well, we see Ghost in the mix here. I don't see any boys being pulled just yet. Could go for it. But again, with Charge and Blink done, and the +2/+2 coming up here, as well as a lot of Colossi out of the map, he's just going to add some pressure here for now.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I feel like Cure is just really struggling to find an angle here. Everything he's done has been just slightly behind, slightly delayed. He's gonna finally get that Stargate.
Finally found it. Well done.
At this point in the game, like, it's more about the pylon than the Stargate.
Yeah, it's actually so true.
I mean,
look, supply block on on
See?
Stats makes 5 pylons.
Definitely more about the pylon than the Stargate. Well, let's see what he can get done here with this army he's got out in the middle of the map. 12 Vikings to 5 Colossi, not the best ratio. Such a small amount of medevacs. He's going to come tag this. Might be at the cost of her life.
Yeah, that's a lot of Viking missiles. Storm is on the way, but it is not just yet finished. He's only got 3 High Templar gaining that energy. Makes 3 more just now, but there is a big army coming his way. It's not going to be ready for this attack.
This angle is everything right now. He needs to have a good angle with his Vikings to win this fight because he's still mostly Marine. Look at that 40 to 15 Marine to Marauder ratio. That means his army is going to get shredded if the Colossi Lances hit those. So he needs to make sure he's got a really good angle on this and get those Vikings attacking those Colossi ASAP. Avoid the Stalkers if he can. Thinking about just going right in here. That Time Warp means those Ghosts are going to get sniped! Great Time Warp right there. That was really nicely done.
So many Ghosts go down, and Cure is like stunned. He doesn't even move his Vikings in time, and now this attack is so severely weakened right now. The 2-2s coming up here for the Protoss. The Storm is going to come in here as well. Huge split on all of the High Templar as well. I'm not sure about this attack.
So many Storms available here. And here we go. There's the first one on top of so many of those weakened Vikings. Oh, these Storms are just way too much. He's eating too much damage here. There's still so many Colossi in the back. Those Vikings need to be at full health. He's even going to blink forward here, and those Vikings are going to fall in no time. The Zealots tanking at the front. Now he can just go and surround and kill this army. He's got blink. Those medevacs aren't going anywhere if he blinks forward. He can blink over here, surround them, and end this game.
That's going to be it here, ladies and gentlemen. Everything in the Terran is coming down. Literally everything of that army. GG. Stats evens it up, 1-1.
Feeling it, man. This is starting to be a great tournament already. Loving these games we're seeing.
Yeah.
Really, really solid play out of Stats that game. I think he's regained his confidence. He's looking like he's back up to snuff. He's playing a very solid game. You know, not trying to do anything fancy in this game. Really just playing safe. Taking his third base very late, in fact. Focusing on his army size first, then his upgrades later.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. There was a time where he had so many upgrades coming through and so much army supply as well. He was trying to, or I thought he may have gone for some aggression, but he just played it safe, got that third base up, and the sniping of the Ghosts, that was actually such a huge part of that play.
That time warp was so good on those Ghosts.
Yeah, it was like preemptive, but Kira just like mismicroed his Ghosts underneath the time warp, and then Stats just saw the opportunity, made some force fields, and the Colossi just lasered down about 4 of them.
Well, he was like not sure if he was going to lose his Ghost. He's like, am I going to lose my Ghost or not? Am I going to lose him and not get that EMP off? I guess I got to go for the EMP. And then they were just kind of stuck in the time warp. They couldn't get their EMP off. They couldn't retreat. And he just right-clicked on them with his Colossi. Such a great move there. Now we're going into Merry-Go-Round, our 3-player map, bit of a longer one, or larger one, excuse me. And this is really anyone's game to take. Stats looks back in full form after that game, so you know, I really don't know who's going to take this third game. I can't even give an edge to either player. I guess we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, me too. I would say Cure, but again, that was pretty even. Stats got a much better start in this game, I have to say, than compared to the first game they played. So that definitely factored into things here. If Cure can just stabilize, get his 2 bases down, not go down to any pressure, I think he may be able to take this one.
Well, let's go ahead and find out. I thought we were about to find out right now. Let's go ahead and find out in just a moment.
In just a little bit.
All right, guys, it's time. The final game here, the losers match of the round of 16, Group B.
Up here in the top left in the red, it's now 1-1, losing that game. It's Cure.
And over here in the bottom center of the map in blue, it's Stats. Solid play there in game number 2. Back in form with weakness PvP. With a lot of risky choices. Was looking a little bit shaky. Not anymore.
Not anymore, indeed. Cure here, I feel like on this map, 3-player map, he's definitely going to go for that Reaper, and I think he's going to get some good scouting information down. I have to say, both of the games where he just went for that early command center, he just didn't look as strong as when he went for that Reaper. I would really like to see him go for it on this map especially.
Well, I mean, just taking a look at how Stats played in game number 2. We saw him go for just a very, very careful game. It was like, if I had to put a name on it, I would say like Creator Prime. You know, he's like, I'm going to get my Colossi out before I get my third base. I'm going to make a lot of them. I'm going to pressure you a little bit with my army, just with the idea. I'm going to, maybe I'm going to attack you. I'm going to go out in the middle of the map, hold the watchtowers. I'm going to always have vision with my Observer. That's one thing that Cure was never able to clear up, was that Observer. So Stats always knew where his army was. He had control of his watchtowers. He took that fight with the force fields in the middle of the map. And then there was that moment when he moved out with his army and Cure had to drop all those bunkers and sit back defensively. He was playing very, very, on the passive side of things. His third command center had to be lifted from his main to his third base. So all of these things add up.
Yeah, they definitely do. Nice scouting pattern here by Cure. He is going to get the first scout on Stats, going south first. And he's got a Reaper for the follow-up as well. So we're going to see this much, much better here in terms of scouting from the beginning.
So he's going to come in here. Let's see if he gets to block the Nexus this time. If he's going to keep that Zealot. Okay, here comes the probe. And no, he doesn't block it. Just a bit too slow.
Yep, Zealot is canceled. And the SCV is trying so hard, but he's not fast enough.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised we actually don't see more Terran players. The second they scout that that's the spawning location, just go right to the Nexus location, because Then the Protoss has to keep his Zealot, which is going to delay his Nexus in the first place. And then as soon as the Zealot comes down to move your SCV away, you can still send it to the main to scout because it's faster than the Zealot.
It's not like there's any like super fast scouting. You got to get down there right in the beginning of the game. Like, you know he's going to have a Cybernetics core on the way as well as gas.
Oh!
That was unbelievably
he
close.
might. Okay. It's like, don't go any further south, Reaper. You need to get out of there, man.
Yep. Runs away with his tail between his legs. Going to go up here on the high ground, regen some health.
And with the Reaper coming up, getting full health, he can pop back in there, and he's gonna be able to see the pylons. He wants to know, are you going Oracles again? Because that's terrifying after what happened to him in Game 2. So if he sees where the pylons are, you know, or if he sees a fast Robo, he's gonna make decisions based off of that coming up forward. It is a Robo, and he comes in here.
Oh, just barely seeing Spy, but Stats is looking.
It's hard to actually scout on this map with a Reaper because you have to go around the natural, or there's just a place where you have to jump double.
Well, we see a much earlier Forge here. He's going to want to get those upgrades up a little bit faster this time around.
So double barracks, pretty standard aggressive play here out of Cure. Getting that concussive shell, wants to maybe perhaps you know, hit one of those stalkers in the middle of the map, chain that together. That just gives you all that extra power with your push if you have that. Factory is on the way now. He's getting ready for getting those medevacs out.
Yeah. We're seeing the armor come down here for the Protoss. This is very, very smart. We're going to see him just go for this defensive style, get a lot of Zealots in the front, and just have them be so tanky, and just go for big kind of death ball style here out of the Protoss.
He's making a cannon here at his natural, and that's going to give him just so much more flexibility against everything that comes his way. So that's really cool. Anything that attacks his front is going to have to, you know, take so much extra damage. That's what a static defense is in StarCraft 2. It's a unit basically that can't move but is overpowered, and the cannon is something that can, you know, just kill Marines so quickly. And if you want to target it down, it's got quite a bit of hit points, so it's going to give your Nexus cannon a few extra shots. Your army is going to get those extra shots as well.
It's definitely very true. I mean, I mentioned the Forge just for the upgrades, but again, like, cannons can definitely come out of that Forge. It's just true. And Observer is going to see everything here. Sees the start port timing there, as well as the switch with the factory. Sees nothing too fancy, just going on with 2 gates, or rather 2 racks in there.
So let's see how many Colossi he makes, how careful he takes his third base this time. Nice snipe on that Reaper. The observers of stats have been just so good, especially in Game 2. And in this game, you can see he's able to identify how many barracks are, the exact moment where the first medevacs are being made. When is he moving out? Is he going to drop me? Where's the Reaper? When can I take my third base? He knows all of these questions. The observer has the answer.
Yeah. Again, StarCraft, a game of limited information. If you can make that limit very not limited, or almost unlimited, if you get all of that information, it makes it a lot easier on you. 2 more gates coming down here. We're seeing this out of stats a lot of times here, just trying to get a big army before taking that third base here. Observer, again, sees the 2 drops coming, knows exactly what's going on. He's going to be totally prepared. Blink is on the way. Not ready just yet, but he's just going to keep some units back here, and he has a cannon at the front to defend.
Yes. So, you know, he's got enough. That's a nice observer snipe there. That's a good pick off there. That also lets him know that his opponent knows he's coming, so he's not going to fall into any sort of trap. But I like the choice to just sit back defensively here. Again, he's not taking a risky third. He's getting his Colossi up first. Another observer spots this army. And it's tough to actually get in there and do damage when he's got that cannon, as you were saying, as you're reminding everybody, up to the front. And he's got plenty of units in the main base as well.
Another nice scan here on the observer. He's picking off all these observers. He's seen this out of stats, the fact that the observers are so key for him. Just wants to make sure all of them are dead. He's spotting them well this time. There's another one here, though. Oh, just scouts the edge of that medevac.
We could have a big drop here. 4 medevacs out now. All right, he's going to lift up. Going all the way with all 4. There's a few units at the front just to spot. You just can't really commit with that many stalkers. You can't actually. Just going to have to go back, regroup, get another sort of drop sub, or maybe wait until Stats moves out or something. Can't actually commit right now.
Yeah. Nice Marine positioning here once again at the third base. Going to deny it for a while. And with
so
that,
nice.
he also scouts the fact that Stats wants to take that third base at this exact time, so he wants to drop now.
Okay, this time I think he might have enough medevacs to actually make this work. 6 medevacs, waiting for combat shields to finish. Blink is done now too. Bunch of warping units here, 3 stalkers, 3 zealots.
And the blink is done as well, so he's got a lot of very, very useful stalkers. But look at this. He's trying to move out towards that third base. He's got a lot of units out of position here, Stats does, and a huge drop coming into the main.
He wants to get on top of that Colossus right away. There's the boost, there's the scan. Right on top of that Colossus. A lot of Marauders in this mix. And is this enough? He doesn't even drop all of his units out, actually. This isn't going to work. And he's got Blink. Blink's forward here, doesn't target the right medevac, but taking a good engagement over here in the middle of the map as well.
Oh, no.
Stats taking a big victory here.
Yep, big blink there onto that medevac as well. Almost takes it down, and the drop is totally held. He doesn't even target down the Colossus. He doesn't get anything out of that except killing a bunch of zealots. That's not what you want to do with a drop of that size.
Well, he lost a lot of his units, and with this next counterattack, he's not ready for this. His third base is exposed.
There are no Vikings on the map right now.
Not a single one. And the third base of Stats goes up for free behind all of this. He's still making medevacs right now. 2-2's about to finish. +1 armor isn't even done yet for Stats right now. This is a very scary moment. He's got that observer for high ground vision. He needs to be careful with his Colossi. He doesn't have very many zealots here
Yeah,
to
not
actually
the best
tank.
tanking power and not the best positioning here. A big concave here for Cure, but is it just too many Colossi? Again, there's no Vikings out right now and a ton of Stalkers in the mix as well.
That AoE damage just does so much for him here. And he's continuing to push forward here, blinking forward onto that high ground with that vision. GG, Stats is going to take it. He's going to advance 2-1 here. Had a rough start in his PvPs, but will stay in here a little bit longer.
This is not the result I was expecting. Cure just not giving us the best show. I mean, he's been playing so well recently, but I feel like in that game he was just trying to force the drop, but Stats was just way, way ready. He even had to blink. The Stalkers that were a little out of position, he was able to blink up onto the high ground, and he gets a bunch of medevacs as well. Totally held in the counterattack is too much. I don't know. I would have just liked to see some drop pressure at the third, you know, delay that third while taking his own third. I feel like that would have been a much better play out of Cure.
Yeah, I mean, he really he really thought that drop was going to do a lot more for him on top of that Colossus, and the Colossus there is a big. It's like how do I put this? It's almost like a bait. It's not intentional bait, but it's just this thing that draws you. It's very attractive. It's very tempting to jump in there and say, you know what? I think I can just kill this. I think I can snipe this. And he committed a lot, but he didn't execute his drop very well. One of his medevacs didn't unload, so he lost a lot of that firepower. I don't think it was a bad idea per se, but the execution just was not perfect, and that cost him a lot, especially because Blink was done.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Stats is playing passively. I mean, Cure just kind of like threw that game into Stats' arms. He was just able to defend it perfectly, and from there, you know, just one counterattack. When you see no Vikings on the map and you already have 3 Colossi, when you go for that build with a very early Robo and early upgrades, you're going to have some really strong gateway units as well as a lot of Colossi, and that's exactly what he had.
So, round of 16 of WECG Korea National, GSL round of 4 player out. We're going to go into that final match here of Group B after a quick commercial break.